The elevator doors slammed shut on their own. Jake, Maya, and Lucas were trapped on the 13th floor of the tallest, creepiest building in Manhattan. The hallway lights flickered, making long shadows stretch along the carpet. At the far end of the corridor, the exit sign glowed red, but every time they tried to walk toward it, the hallway seemed to grow longer, like the building was stretching on purpose. Did the hallway just move?" Maya whispered. Lucas checked the camera in his shaking hands. The little red light was still on. He had been filming the whole time. "Keep recording," Jake said. His voice sounded brave, but his hands were trembling. "If this video doesn't go viral, I swear." Then they heard it. A slow, dragging step. Not from in front of them. From the ceiling above them. Scrape. 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 The sound followed them no matter where they moved, like something was crawling on the other side of the ceiling tiles, right over their heads, tracking them. Maya looked up. One of the tiles bulged down, like something was pressing on it from the inside. Dust fell in a small cloud. "Guys," she whispered, "that's not funny. We're not doing anything," Lucas said, backing away. The bulging tile pushed down further, and then it popped out of place and fell to the floor with a crash. For a second, nothing was there. Just a dark square hole in the ceiling. Jake lifted his flashlight. "Don't," Maya whispered. "Don't shine it up there." But he did. The beam hit a pale, gray hand curled around the edge of the opening. Its fingers were too long. Way too long. They twitched, like waking up. The hand began to slide down out of the darkness. Maya grabbed Jake's arm. Lucas almost dropped the camera. The thing in the ceiling started to bend down, slow and silent, like it had all the time in the world. Then, from somewhere deep in the building, they heard an old woman's voice, soft but clear, echo through the hall. "Why did you come back?" The lights went out. Everything went black. And something cold brushed against Jake's neck. 10 hours earlier, nothing was scary at all. Jake was sitting at his kitchen table in Queens, scrolling on his phone, bored out of his mind. It was Friday, almost October, and everyone online was talking about haunted houses and scary places. But the videos all felt fake to him. "So lame," he muttered. "Jump scares and bad editing." His mom was cooking dinner behind him. "Homework first, Jake," she said without turning around. "I finished it," he lied, sliding to another video. The title read, "Top 10 Haunted Places in the World." The thumbnail showed a creepy castle. Jake rolled his eyes. "You know what would be cool? Top 3 most terrifying haunted buildings in New York. Real ones." His phone buzzed. It was a text from Lucas. "Bro. New video idea. We hit 1,000 subs. Time to go crazy." Then another text from Maya. "You wanted spooky content? I think I just found something." Jake's heart sped up a little. He jumped into their group chat. "What did you find?" he typed. A moment later, a link popped up. It was an article with a headline. "Top 3 most terrifying haunted buildings in New York you should never visit alone." Under it were 3 names. An abandoned hospital in Brooklyn. A forgotten subway station under City Hall. A closed luxury hotel in Manhattan, famous for one floor no one talks about. Jake grinned. This is perfect. They met that night at Lucas's place in Brooklyn. Lucas already had his camera bag packed. Maya had a worn notebook full of ghost stories and dates. "Okay," Maya said, spreading the papers on the coffee table. "Listen. People say that if you visit all 3 buildings in one night, something follows you home. Like you wake up, and you're not alone anymore." Lucas laughed. "Yeah, that's exactly what we want. Views." Jake nodded. "We'll do one building at a time. Start with the hospital, then the subway station, and save the hotel for last. We'll call the video Top 3 Most Terrifying Haunted Buildings in New York." "And what if the stories are true?" Maya asked. Jake tried to joke. "Then we get the scariest footage YouTube has ever seen." But a small part of him wondered. What if something really did follow them? Just after midnight, they stood outside the first building, the abandoned Brooklyn hospital. The windows were dark and broken. The wind made the loose metal signs rattle. A faded old sign still hung above the entrance. Maya hugged her jacket tighter. They say this place was shut down after a power outage. Some patients never made it out. Lucas hit record on the camera. What's up, guys? Tonight, we're exploring the top 3 most haunted buildings in New York. Jake pushed open the door. It creaked like it hadn't moved in years. The air inside smelled like dust and old medicine. Their footsteps echoed down the empty hallway. Faded posters peeled off the walls. A wheelchair sat alone in the corner, turned toward the wall like it was in trouble. They walked deeper inside. High, low, high, low. Sometimes they just heard drips and creaks. Sometimes a sudden loud noise made them jump. Once, a door at the end of the hall swung shut by itself. Wind, Jake said, even though the air felt still. They were about to leave the hospital when Maya stopped. Did you hear that? She whispered. Hear what? Lucas asked. Maya's eyes went wide. Somebody just said my name. Before Jake could answer, the wheelchair down the hallway slowly turned itself around to face them. The seat was empty, but the footrests were pressed down, like someone invisible had just sat in it. The wheelchair started rolling toward them. For a moment, none of them moved. The wheelchair rolled toward them slowly, softly, its wheels squeaking across the dusty floor. There was no slope, no wind, no reason it should be moving at all. Maya stepped back until her shoulders hit the wall. Jake, she whispered. Do something. Jake lifted his flashlight with a shaking hand. It's probably just loose flooring. Loose flooring doesn't make a chair move toward us, Lucas said, gripping his camera tighter. The wheelchair stopped right in front of them. It wobbled slightly, like something had just gotten off it. The hallway suddenly felt colder, cold enough that Jake's breath came out as a faint white cloud. That's when Maya screamed. A handprint, small, child-sized, slowly appeared on the fogged glass window beside her. It formed right at face level, like someone was standing there, pressing their palm from the inside of the wall. The fingers dragged downward, leaving a streak behind. Jake grabbed Maya, and all 3 of them ran. They burst through the hospital doors and didn't stop until they reached the streetlight outside. The cold night air felt warm compared to the icy hospital hallways. Lucas bent over, breathing hard. Okay, that's building number 1 done. Maya shivered. No, that wasn't normal, Jake. That wasn't camera trick stuff. Jake swallowed. I know. He didn't want to admit it, but something felt off. His chest felt tight, like he'd left something behind, or like something had followed him out. Still, they had a plan, and they weren't quitters. Next stop, Jake said, trying to sound confident. The abandoned subway station. The City Hall station was beautiful once. Everyone said so. Curved ceilings, fancy tiles, golden lights. But now only maintenance crews passed through it. The place had been shut down for years. They climbed down through a service entrance Maya had found online. The metal ladder creaked with every step. When they reached the bottom, they entered a tunnel that looked like it hadn't been used in forever. Lucas turned on the camera again. Still rolling, he whispered. Jake's flashlight beam hit the tiled walls of the station as they stepped inside. The whole place looked frozen in time. Old benches, dusty signs, silent tracks. Wow, Maya breathed. This place would be pretty if it wasn't, terrifying. Jake agreed. The tiled ceiling caught the light like old jewels. It felt like stepping into a forgotten world. That's when they heard the whistle. A faint, distant train whistle. In an abandoned station with no working trains. Tell me you guys heard that, Lucas said. Jake nodded. Maya grabbed his sleeve. Then came another sound, wheels grinding metal. Far down the tunnel. Getting closer. Maya looked at Jake. There are no trains in this station. Right. Jake opened his phone. No signal. Of course. The tunnel grew brighter. A faint light, like an approaching train headlight, shimmered down the tracks. "That's impossible," Lucas whispered. "There's no power here." But the light kept coming. It flickered like an old movie reel, jumping and flashing. Jake swallowed hard. "Guys, the rails aren't even vibrating." Maya tugged them behind one of the stone pillars. They crouched, wide-eyed, as the train rolled into the station. Except it wasn't a train. Not a real one. It was a shadow. A long, dark shape slid along the rails without sound or weight. Inside it, faint silhouettes sat in rows, like ghostly passengers heading somewhere they shouldn't be going. None of them had faces. Not one. Lucas recorded everything, his hands shaking. "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" The shadow train slowed down as if stopping at the station. Then all the faceless passengers turned toward the three of them at the same time. Maya gasped. "They can see us." The shadow train flickered, like it was glitching. Then the passengers began to stand, one by one, rising from their seats, all turning their blank heads toward the pillar where the three friends hid. Jake felt his chest tighten. They needed to run before those things reached them. "Go," he whispered. "Now." They bolted. Their footsteps echoed through the station, bouncing off the high ceilings. The shadow figures stepped off the train, slow, stretching, reaching, dragging darkness with them. Jake didn't dare look back. They scrambled back into the tunnel they came from, climbing the ladder 2 rungs at a time. Lucas almost dropped the camera, but Jake grabbed his arm and pulled him up. They didn't stop running until they were back on the street, gasping for air under a blinking street lamp. Maya clutched her chest. 2 buildings. 2 horrible, horrible buildings. Lucas laughed nervously. "We got insane footage though." Jake didn't speak. There was something else. Something he hadn't told them yet. Because when he climbed out of the subway tunnel, his phone vibrated in his pocket. He had checked it. One new notification. A voice message. From an unknown number. And the message was only 3 words, whispered in a cold, trembling voice. "You're not done." He didn't tell Lucas and Maya. Not yet. Because the 3rd and final building was waiting for them. The haunted hotel in Manhattan. And something was already expecting them inside. Jake felt it. Watching them. Following. And as they reached the hotel entrance, something inside the lobby slammed against the glass doors, hard enough to crack the glass. Jake froze. Something was on the other side. Waiting. The cracked glass doors shook again. This time harder. Jake, Maya, and Lucas stepped back as the long spiderweb crack spread across the surface, glowing under the streetlight. Whatever was inside the hotel wasn't trying to break out, it was trying to invite them in. Maya grabbed Jake's sleeve. We don't have to do this. We already survived 2 haunted buildings. That's enough for a lifetime." Lucas lifted the camera, swallowing hard. "But this is the last one. The big one. The one nobody else ever filmed." Jake didn't reply. He couldn't. Because while Lucas talked, Jake's phone buzzed again. Another message. Another whisper. This time it said, "Come to the 13th floor." Jake shoved the phone into his pocket fast. His heart felt like it was shaking. The hotel loomed over them, dark windows, broken neon sign, and a grand entrance covered in dust. Once, it must have been a beautiful luxury place where people came for vacations and fancy parties. Now it felt like a sleeping giant filled with ghosts. Jake pushed the cracked door open. A dusty chandelier hung above them, swaying slowly as if something invisible had brushed past it moments earlier. The huge lobby was empty except for scattered chairs and torn curtains. The carpet had dark stains, and the long reception desk looked like no one had touched it in decades. Maya stepped inside. "It feels different from the others." Lucas nodded. "Yeah, like it's not empty." Jake felt the same. The air felt heavier here, thick like the building was breathing. They walked deeper into the lobby, their footsteps muffled by the old carpet. Then Maya froze. "Guys, look! She pointed at a large portrait hanging crookedly on the wall. It showed the hotel owner from the early 1900s, a tall man in a black suit. His face looked normal, except for the eyes. The eyes in the painting were scratched out. All that remained were two dark holes. Lucas took one slow step back. Someone really didn't like that dude. That's not the creepy part, Jake whispered. What is then? Maya asked. Jake pointed. The dust on the floor in front of the painting had been disturbed by footprints. Bare footprints. Too long. Too thin. They led away from the painting toward the elevators. Lucas's voice shook. Okay. I vote we do not follow those. But the elevator bell dinged on its own. The metal doors slid open, revealing a soft red glow inside. Like the elevator was lit by a single dying light. Maya backed up. We should take the stairs. Jake nodded. Yes. Definitely stairs. They hurried toward the stairwell door, but as Jake touched the handle, it tore itself out of his hand. The heavy door slammed shut. Hard. A gust of cold air burst from the cracks, hitting their faces. Maya screamed and stepped away. The elevator, Jake said. It wants us to use the elevator. Lucas shook his head violently. No. No way. No elevator in a haunted hotel. But as they turned to run, the lights flickered overhead. One by one, they turned off, starting at the far end of the lobby and racing toward them. Darkness chased them. Run! Jake shouted. They sprinted toward the glowing elevator just as the last light went out. The metal doors began to close, but Jake lunged and shoved his arm between them. They slid open again, and the three of them tumbled inside. The doors slammed shut behind them. The elevator began to rise. On its own. No buttons pressed. No numbers lighting up. Just a steady, slow climb. Maya hugged herself. Jake, why is it moving? We didn't pick a floor. Jake swallowed. Because something else picked for us. Lucas aimed the camera at the panel. Look, no numbers. The floor indicator lights were dark. The elevator moved silently, no cables creaking, no machinery humming. It was like floating upward inside a metal box. Maya whispered, Jake, you're hiding something. I can tell. Jake looked at her. She was right. He exhaled shakily. I've been getting messages. Someone, something, has been texting me since the subway station. Lucas blinked. From who? Jake pointed at the elevator ceiling. From up there. Maya's face turned pale. You don't mean? Before she finished her sentence, the elevator shuddered. A metallic screech echoed above them. Something heavy landed on the elevator roof. Boom. The ceiling panel bent inward. Boom. Dust rained down. Boom. It's on top of us! Lucas yelled. The elevator shook violently, swinging like something was pulling it from the outside. Jake grabbed Maya and Lucas. Hold on! The elevator suddenly stopped. Dead still. The lights flickered. Then, ding! The doors slid open. To a hallway filled with red light. Shadows stretched across the walls. At the far end of the hall stood a tall figure. Still, watching them. Jake's heart thumped painfully. That's the 13th floor, he whispered, because printed above the elevator door, in faded gold letters, was a number that everyone in New York believed didn't exist in this hotel. 13. The figure at the end of the hallway slowly lifted its hand and pointed directly at them.